If you want a new gaming PC build that performs really well, fits your budget and your monitor resolution, whether that's 1080p, 1440p or 4K, then this is the perfect video for you, because I'll show you the best gaming PC builds of the month that will achieve high FPS. I will also show you the level of performance that you can expect in case you end up buying one of these PCs, which, by the way, all the links with the most updated pricing and availability in your region will be down below in the video description. My name is Valentino. That being said, let's start. With the first PC, we have the best gaming system under $1,000, and this PC is going to be ideal if you want to play at 1080p resolution on ultra settings in any high demanding game, and it is also great if you want to play esports shooters at 1080p resolution as well, because you will be achieving high FPS. So if you want a high refresh rate monitor, that's also going to be possible with this PC. That being said, this PC is also amazing when it comes to 1440p on a budget. Now, it's not going to be the best performing 1440p gaming PC out there, so it's not going to be the best one compared to other PCs that I will be talking about throughout this video, but it is going to be pretty amazing for the price that you are paying. And don't worry, as I said before, I will get to the level of performance in just a second. Now, this PC features the RX 6750 XT graphics card, and that's why it's so amazing when it comes to 1080p and 1440p resolution on a budget. And then it features the Ryzen 5 7500F CPU or Ryzen 5 7600, depending on which one you want to buy. The Ryzen 5 7500F has very similar performance compared to the Ryzen 5 7600, but you have to keep in mind that the 7500F is only available in AliExpress, so the Ryzen 5 7600 is slightly faster. You can get it in the US market, so it's going to ship faster to your house, and some people want to buy directly from Amazon or Best Buy. So if that's you, then I recommend you spending the extra and getting the Ryzen 5 7600. Now, I will touch the price in just a moment. Then you get 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, which is going to be ideal for streaming in case you want to do streaming while gaming. Then you get a 1TB SSD, and for the case, you get the Bitfinex Nova Mesh Micro ATX case, which is an amazing budget case with plenty of airflow, and also you get 3 pre-installed fans, which is going to be ideal for the airflow overall. In terms of the exact level of performance, you can expect 100 plus FPS on average in high demanding titles, high to ultra settings at 1080p resolution, and then if you want to play at 1440p, you can expect 70 plus FPS in these same type of games, high to ultra settings. A very strong level of performance for both 1080p and 1440p, considering we are talking about the most high demanding titles out there, like Cyberpunk 2077. So if you want to play easy to run games like esports shooters, let's say Valorant or CS2, this type of shooters, you can expect 320 plus FPS on average in competitive settings, possibly even more depending on the esports game, so you can easily fit a 240Hz or even 360Hz 1080p or 1440p monitor. The price as of right now is $845 if you go with the Ryzen 5 7500F, and if you want to buy the Ryzen 5 7600 instead, then the price is going to be around $33 more, and you will be spending about 875 bucks. Now, if your monitor resolution is a 1440p monitor and you want to play really comfortable at 1440p even in high demanding games, but you do not want to spend a ton of money, then I recommend you getting the next PC build, which is the best value 1440p gaming PC. This PC is ideal for 1440p resolution for any type of games, whether that's esports shooters or high demanding titles on ultra settings. There's not going to be an issue with neither of them, and you will be achieving way faster performance compared to the last system. It's also a great option if you have a 1080p monitor and you want a 1080p future-proof gaming PC, since this system, even though in my opinion it's an overkill for 1080p, it's going to be amazing down the line in the next 4 or 5 years. So if that's something that you care about, then this is going to be the perfect option for you. And you can also play at 4K resolution if you want to, only if you follow my advice that I will give you when I mention the level of performance in just a second. Now, this PC has the same Ryzen 5 7600 7900 processor, but this time you get the RX 7900G RE graphics card or RTX 4070 Super if you want to go with Nvidia. And the difference here is that the 4070 Super is a bit more expensive, but you get DLSS and a better level of ray tracing performance. So if you will be using an upscaling technology, DLSS is better. In that case, I recommend you getting the 4070 Super. However, if you want the best price to performance, the 7900G RE will perform about the same in terms of native performance for a lower price. And on top of that, you get 16 gigs of VRAM from the 7900G RE, which is going to be great for a future-proof 1440p gaming PC as well. Then you get 32 gigs of DDR5 memory once again, so ideal for streaming and content creation as I mentioned before. And then you get 2 TB of SSD instead of 1 TB, so you get plenty of storage to install more games, and you get more storage than the last one, as you can tell. And last but not least, you get the Montec Air 100 ARGB case with 4 pre-installed fans. In my opinion, this is one of the best quality and best looking cases out there, especially for the price that you are paying. And I will mention the total price right after I mention the level of performance, which is going to be around 100 plus FPS on average in high demanding titles, high to ultra settings at 1440p resolution. And in the same test, you can expect 140 plus FPS on average at 1080p resolution, high to ultra settings. So as I said before, in my opinion, it's an overkill for 1080p, but it's also a great option if you want a future-proof 1080p gaming system. And then last but not least, you can expect the same 320 plus FPS on average in esports titles, competitive settings. Now at 4K resolution, you can expect around 60 plus FPS on average, and I'm talking about high demanding games, high to ultra settings. So in this case, my advice for you is to turn on FSR or DLSS. If you go with the 4070 Super from Nvidia, then turn on DLSS. If you go with the 7900G RE from AMD, then turn on FSR. By turning on these technologies, you can expect around 80 to 90 plus FPS on average at 4K resolution, high to ultra settings, of course depending on the game and depending on the exact settings. Keep in mind that you will not need to turn on DLSS or FSR or just any upscaler if you will be playing easier to run games like Valorant for example, or games like Minecraft. Now the total price is $1,200 for the entire system with the RX 7900G RE graphics card, and if you want to go with Nvidia, then you are looking to spend $1,250 by the time of filming. Remember that the price might be different when you're watching this video, so I do recommend you checking the latest prices and availability in your region from the video description. And before we get into the best 1440p gaming PC in terms of performance, I want to say that if you are finding valuable information so far, I encourage you to subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way you get to learn more about computers and you get notified when I upload new content. Now, if you want the best 1440p level of performance, I recommend you getting this system, which is going to be ideal if you want the best performing 1440p PC or if you want to play at 4K high to ultra settings without breaking the bank. So the reason why this system is so amazing when it comes to 1440p resolution or a future-proof 1440p resolution PC or a 4K high to ultra settings one is because of the graphics card. Here you get the RX 7900 XT or RTX 4070 Ti Super if you want to go with Nvidia. Both GPUs are going to be amazing for 1440p resolution, so this is going to be the sweet spot if you want the best performing 1440p gaming system. And I will mention the level of performance in just a moment, but for the CPU you get once again the Ryzen 5 7600 because it's amazing when it comes to price to performance and it's not going to bottleneck the 4070 Ti Super or the 7900 XT, especially in those high GPU demanding titles. I will have a PC alternative for you if you play esports games and you want to max out the FPS that you can achieve in those type of games, and I will mention that in a moment. But before doing that, let me tell you about the rest of the components. Here you get 2 TB of SSD once again, 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, which is going to be way more than enough for gaming, and last but not least, you get a Fantex XT Pro Ultra case with 4 pre-installed fans and is going to be bigger than any other case that I've mentioned so far. In terms of the level of performance, you can expect 120 plus FPS on average at 1440p high to ultra settings in high demanding games, and this number is going to be around 70 to 75 plus FPS on average if you want to play at 4K ultra settings, or 90 to 120 plus FPS on average if you turn on DLSS or FSR. And last but not least, least you can expect once again 320 plus FPS on average in competitive settings in most esports games out there, so you can easily fit a 360 or 240 Hz 1440p monitor. The total price for this system is going to be $1,550 if you go with the Nvidia RTX 4070 Ti Super, or $1,430 if you go with the AMD RX 7900 XT. And once again, just as I said before, I recommend you going with Nvidia if you will be using DLSS quite a lot, or if you want a better level of ray tracing performance. But if you want the best pure price to performance, so you spend less and get about the same level of gaming performance, then I recommend you getting the 7900 XT. And if you want the best performance for esports games and you have more money to spend, then I have an extra upgrade for you, which is the CPU. I recommend you going from the Ryzen 5 7600 to the Ryzen 7 7800X3D, which is the fastest CPU in the entire market when it comes to gaming performance. So that's going to be ideal for those high CPU demanding games like Fortnite or Valorant, especially if you want to compete in these type of titles. Making this upgrade will increase the level of FPS from 320 plus FPS on average to 500 plus FPS on average, so you can easily fit a 540 Hz monitor and max out any monitor refresh rate in the market, which is pretty great. But it's also going to be more expensive since you get the fastest CPU in the market. And the total price for the RX 7900 XT system, but this time with the faster CPU, is going to be around $1,711 by the time of filming. And if you go with the RTX 4070 Ti Super graphics card instead and the upgraded processor, then it's going to be around $1,830. So it's not going to be a cheap upgrade, but again, if you want a better quality gaming system with a better CPU, more future-proof, then this is going to be the ideal upgrade for you. And don't worry if you got lost, because all the links for these upgrades and bonus parts will be down in the video description as well. And then if you want to jump up to 4K resolution but you want to get better performance without having to turn on DLSS or FSR, you just want one of the best gaming systems out there for 4K resolution native without having to spend a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, this system is going to be expensive, but it's definitely not as expensive as the most expensive system in this list, which I will mention very soon. You can also buy this PC for 1440p resolution, very high FPS, especially if you want a 1440p future-proof gaming system, but it is a bit of an overkill right now for most games, so I would recommend you buying a 4K monitor if you have the budget to. The key components here are the RTX 4080 Super graphics card, which is one of the fastest 4K graphics cards out there, and is also the second fastest graphics card when it comes to ray tracing performance, in case you want to play with ray tracing enabled. And then you get the fastest CPU in the market again in the Ryzen 7 7800X3D. Then you get 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, 2TB SSD, and the Antec DF700 case, which in my opinion is one of the best looking cases in the entire market. In terms of the level of performance, you can expect 85 plus FPS on average when it comes to 4K high to ultra settings in high demanding titles with no DLSS on, because as I said before, when you spend this amount of money you don't need to turn on DLSS. Of course, there are some very high demanding games where you may want to turn on this technology, but for the most part it's not going to be necessary. And then you can achieve 500 plus FPS on average in esports games, so you can max out any monitor refresh rate once again. Now the total price for this system by the time of filming is $2,020, which is a very good price for a good quality system like this one. Even though it's expensive, if you can afford it, I think that it's going to be amazing, especially if you do not want to spend more to get the fastest graphics card in the market. However, if you want the best of the best gaming PC for 4K resolution and also for just any resolution, then I recommend you getting the next one, which is also the most expensive one. But hey, some people want the best of the best, and that's totally fine. I mean, if you can afford it, you are going to be getting the fastest level of performance in the market, because with this PC you get the RTX 4090, which is the fastest graphics card for gaming, content creation, productivity work, and also ray tracing. And then you get the fastest CPU in the market for gaming that I've been mentioning throughout this video in the 7800X3D. Then you get 32 gigs of RAM once again. Here you get 2TB of Gen 4 SSD instead of Gen 3. Then you get a 240 all-in-one liquid cooler for that Ryzen 7, which is going to make the aesthetic look much better. And then you get a very nice looking case in the King 95 Pro, which is a very expensive case, but I mean, when you are looking for the best of the best, you also get the best aesthetics in my opinion. And in terms of the level of performance, you can expect over 110 plus FPS on average at 4K high to ultra settings, of course without any upscaling technology because you will not need it with this system. And then you can expect 500 plus FPS in esports games like Fortnite or Valorant, and the total price is the most expensive in this list, as I said before, at $3,060 by the time of filming, so very expensive, but again, if you can afford it, you will be getting the fastest one in the entire market. And then I have one more bonus PC for you, which is the Value Esports Gaming PC, which is going to be ideal if you want to play esports games and max out your refresh rate. So you want, for example, a 540Hz 1080p monitor, but you do not want to spend at least $1,700 to get the fastest CPU in the market. But don't get it twisted though, even though this one is one of the best value esports PCs out there, you also get an amazing level of performance in high demanding games at 1440p and 1080p resolution as well. The key PC components feature the RX 6800 XT graphics card alongside the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D CPU, and that's why you will be getting very high FPS in esports games. Then you get a 1TB SSD and 32GB of RAM once again, alongside the Bitfinex Nova Mesh Micro ATX case with 3 pre-installed fans, plenty of airflow, and the entire system, in my opinion, as I said before, is the best value esports PC because you can get a 1080p 540Hz monitor, take full advantage of it, or a 1440p 360Hz monitor, and you will be getting the smoothest level of performance without having to spend $1,700, which is the price for the first PC that I showed with the fastest CPU in the market. So this PC is $1,300. That being said, you get a $400 discount compared to that $1,700 system, while achieving a very similar level of gaming performance when it comes to esports shooters. And then when it comes to high demanding titles, with this system you can expect 130 plus FPS on average at 1080p high to ultra settings in those high demanding games like Cyberpunk 2077 or The Last of Us Part 1, and then you can expect 90 plus FPS on average at 1440p resolution in these same high demanding games. So very smooth as well for those high demanding titles in case you want to play those type of games on the side. And keep in mind that if you do not want to build a PC yourself, then I recommend you getting a pre-built PC instead. Maybe you just don't have the time to build one yourself, or you are scared to mess something up, which is completely normal. So if you are looking for a pre-built PC instead that fits your budget and your needs, then I recommend you watching my video on the best pre-built PCs of the month for every budget and every resolution. You will find that video in the top right of the screen and also down in the video description alongside every system that I've mentioned today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.